Using my number 6 brush and the warm beige color, I'm going to paint in the top of my owl's head. And I want to take that paint and pull it down and over as much as I can. I want to fill it in, that whole area. Look at that, we're using that same bit of paint to pull it in. Then we're going to grab that burnt sienna, we're going to add a little bit into there and into his left ear. And then we're going to do a little bit on his right ear. Oh, sorry about that. Hopefully it'll adjust. There it is. Okay. So then we're going to add some warm beige to his ear. I'm actually going to add a little bit of white. I want to try and lighten that up just a little bit so there's a difference in shading between the outside and inside of the ear. I'm going to go through and do it on the left side as well. We're going to use that warm beige, and then I'm going to go over and I'm going to grab my white paint and add a little bit in there to lighten it up. Then we're going to mix in the warm beige and the white over on my palette. I know you can't see it, but that's what I did. And then here, we're going to start filling in the main part of his face with that lighter shade of color. We're not going to worry about his eyes at this point. We're just going to fill in his face. We're going to add the paint, pull it down and over as much as possible, and fill that in, excuse me, going from the left to the right. Now you could paint over his beak if you wanted, but I really want a bold color for his beak. So I'm actually going to paint around the beak and leave that blank for later when we add the color. So let's continue to pull that over and around on his face, fill that in. Again, it's a mixture of the warm beige and the white on our palette as we fill in his face. We're going to kind of smooth that in there and have it filled in just like that. Now we're going to go back to the warm beige and we're going to start painting in the side of his face down into his neck. Going to do the same thing on the other side as well, but we're going to pull that warm beige color over, add that here to our right side. Again, we are using the number 6 brush and we're pulling that warm beige color all around his face on the right and left side down into his neck. And I think I kind of want to add just a little bit of white. I want to create some texture to his body, mainly obviously his head and neck. And you'll see why when we start adding the lines for his feathers and how it builds that character, that texture of what we're doing with our owl. Okay, I want to clean off my number 6 brush and we're going to grab our number 2 brush. We're going to change to this. As you can see, it's a skinnier brush and we are going to use this paintbrush to create our lines, which will be our feathers. We're going to dip into the burnt sienna with our number 2 brush and we're going to start creating short lines like strokes. We're going to pull upwards and off the paper. Just like this, we're just going to keep doing that until we fill the top of his head. They don't need to be equal or exact to each other. Remember, these are his feathers. This is a representation of his feathers, so they can be short or long. You know, imagine it as if the owl had just flown through the sky and now he's sitting perched on a branch. He's going to be tousled. His feathers are going to be uneven. So think about that as you're adding the lines and creating these strokes for his hair. So we're going to continue dipping into that burnt sienna and we're going to finish creating our lines. Again, we're going to start from the bottom and we're going to pull up, stroking up and out. Sorry about that. We're going to do the same thing on his ears. Again, there we are. So the next thing we want to do is we want to paint his nose. We're going to dip our number 2 brush into the nutmeg brown. You'll see that it's a little bit darker brown than the burnt sienna. And we're going to use that to create his nose. We're going to paint in that layer, fill it in, and I think I want to make it just a little bit more intense. I'm going to add a little bit more of that. Okay, so now that we've finished his nose, we are going to dip back into that nutmeg brown. And what we want to do is going to go back up to the top, and we're going to start painting in some of that darker brown into his feathers and those lines. I try to typically paint in between the lines that we already have there so that we can create a little bit more texture. Nothing wrong if you accidentally paint over a line that's already there, but if we can try to paint in between the lines that are already there, this is what gives us that feeling of feathers. And if, like you say, you're doing a hedgehog or something like that, it gives you that feeling, that texture of hair. So we're going to go back to our burnt sienna. Sorry about that there. Let me show this to you. So with a number 2 brush, you can have a different thickness of lines. You can have a really thick one. You can have super thin ones. It really all depends on how hard you push down with your brush. So as you can see, there are some options with the number 2 brush. Okay, I'm going to wash that off. We're going to dip back into that nutmeg brown. We're going to go back to painting his feathers. We're going down the side of his face. We will repeat this step over and over until we actually have his full face painted. So we want to do that. We're going to do around on his neck. We're going to do on his side to the left of his face. We're just going to simply keep repeating this until we have this all filled in. I love watching, and sometimes I can even rewatch my videos over and over because I love seeing how, as I add my textures and my techniques, how everything starts slowly coming to life. And you can see that here with this owl, and hopefully you can see that at home or wherever you are painting. You can see that happening as we are painting this owl here. All right, so I'm going to go back and dip into that warm beige a little bit. I want to add a little bit to the ear, then back to that nutmeg brown to kind of blend those 2 colors together. Same thing on the other ear. All right, we're going back to that nutmeg brown, and now we're just going to throw some lines in there. And I need to correct myself. I think we were using burnt sienna, and I can't remember if I said burnt sienna before or nutmeg brown. My apologies. That first layer on the sides and the neck is the nutmeg brown. Burnt sienna. Now we're using the nutmeg brown. My apologies. Sometimes my brain is still a little bit scrambled with, everything I've had going on with surgeries and now going through radiation treatment. So thank you for your patience. Okay, so we are using the nutmeg brown here and creating that depth to our owl and his hair. Now I'm using my warm beige because I'm going to create some highlights. I'm not going to do it as much as the other 2 colors that we did, just some miscellaneous ones so it can look like there's some highlights, like the light is bouncing off the feathers of our owl. Okay, let's wash off our brush and then dip it into our black. And we're going to start bringing our owl to life by painting his eyes. We're going to create some black ovals here, and then we're going to take and pull a line from the left to the right, touching the top of his eye. Now, as you know, I am not a realistic painter. I prefer to create my woodland animals with eyes that evoke emotion and character in a way that both kids and adults can connect with. So that is why you see in most of my illustrations this very simplistic way of creating eyes for my animals, whether it's a bird or a hedgehog. Okay, so we're going to do that again, left to right. We're going to pull that line over and have it touch the top of the eye. To finalize the owl's face, I'm going to dip my number 6 brush back into the warm beige and add a little bit at the top. Because again, not only is it creating depth and shadow, we're building on the emotion of that owl. All right, so now we're using our number 6 brush and we're working on the cheeks. We've dipped into the crushed coral, and then we're going to mix a little bit of the warm beige with it, and we're going to take our brush and move it around and blend the 2. again, the crushed coral, and we're going to do it on the left side. And then once we have that down, we're going to dip into that warm beige again, and we're going to mix it with the crushed coral on our owl. Now you can keep playing around till you have the certain color that you want. You can have it like a lighter pink or a lighter brownish pink, whatever you like. That's your choice when you're creating the cheeks to your owl. Okay, we're going to rinse off the number 6 brush and set it aside, and then we're going to pick up our number 2 brush and dip it into the white, and we're going to finish the eyes of our owl. We're going to fill it in under the line and pull that over from the left to the right until it touches the left side of that black oval. We'll dip into our white and repeat that on the right side as well. We're going to fill that in under the line and pull it over until it touches the oval, the left side of that black oval. That's his eye. And then we're going to make some really, really gentle, small strokes on the black oval part because we're trying to create the reflection of the light, just like that. I think I want to add a little bit more white to his eyes. I want them a little bit more bold. So I'm going to add a little bit more. See how that stands out just a tad more? Okay, we've done that. And now I'm going to add a couple white spots to his beak because I want his beak to have that reflection as well. Okay, taking our number 6 brush, we're going to dip it into the flesh tint color and begin painting the main part of the face of the owl. So just as we did before with our other colors, we're going to paint it on there and we're going to pull that paint down and over. We want to use as much of the paint that we are pulling off the brush as possible. Again, we're going to paint around the beak. I'm going to choose not to paint over it because I really want the beak to stand out more. So we're going to continue dipping into our flesh tint color, and we're going to fully pull that all the way around on the face. And as you add the color, don't forget to go back and try to really smooth out that paint color. We're going to smooth that out on the edges. We're going to go across the top here. Yeah, see how that's smoothing out just a little bit more, so that way the texture and everything looks better in the end. Okay, now we're going to dip into the burnt sienna, and we're going to paint the top of our owl now. Nice and smooth, pulling our paint across. We're doing the left ear, pulling it down just above the beak. We're going to keep filling that in. We'll grab a little bit more of that burnt sienna. We're going to keep filling it in and pulling it across, all the way across the top of his head and into his right ear. It's really, really looking lovely, don't you think? And I love this because this is going to show you how we can go the opposite direction. The first one we did light to dark. This one we're going dark to light. So we're going to keep painting, and we're going to pull that same burnt sienna color down on his neck, both sides, and we're going to continue working to fill that in all the way around. So let's keep using that burnt sienna and keep filling it in until we have both sides of his head painted and his neck all the way across. And in the process, smoothing out the paint as much as possible that we've put on the paper. Yeah, I love watching things come to life as you go along. Sometimes it's nerve-wracking because you're like, okay, this is not going where I think it should have gone or should be going. But if you just enjoy the process, you'll most always be surprised. Okay, I've dipped into the warm beige here, and I'm adding a little bit to the top of his head there. Not too much, as you can see here, just a little bit. I want to create a little bit more depth to my owl here with just a little bit of warm beige. And like here, if I feel like I've gotten too much, I can go back with that burnt sienna and paint over top of it, which will allow me to blend that warm beige in a little bit more into the burnt sienna. That is really, really lovely. I really like that. Now what I've done is I've dipped my brush into that nutmeg brown so that I can create a darker color on top. Just like that, we're going to fill it in. I really like that. Can you see how that's given that depth, that curve to the back? We're going to do that on a side because we want to create that depth, that coming to life feeling. and the darker colors allow us to build that. So I'm going to go all the way around just a little bit. I'm going to add that, blend it in as much as possible with that nutmeg brown. It's looking really, really lovely there. And as always, you can go back with that previous color. Okay, wait, I just want to adjust this a little bit. Oh, whoops, wrong direction. Sorry about that. Okay, I wanted it out just a little bit more because what I want to show you in a few minutes after we finish painting the neck. I've gone back to the burnt sienna, as I said. I'm going to blend that nutmeg brown down and into it. I want to show you at the bottom of this page some other techniques that you can do. All right, I'm going to rinse this brush off for a second because what I want to do is come back with my number 2 brush. That's the skinnier brush, because I want to show you here at the bottom right corner of the page a couple different techniques you can do before we paint the beak. So the first one is you dip into any color you want at this point right now. This is just practice on another scrap paper. You can take what looks like a bunch of U's and just put them side by side by side, and you'll find that it starts looking like feathers. Or you can do just straight lines down. On this owl, we'll do both. Okay, so we're going to go back into the nutmeg brown and we're going to start painting in his beak. We're going to fill that in so that it's nice and full and sharp, because that is, that's a main part of the owl. Okay, so at the top, I think what we'll do is we'll start with the lines for creating feathers. You can make them as short or as long as you'd like. There's no harm even in doing a combo of it. Whatever you feel like that feels natural. Here I'm going to do just a little bit of both. I'm going to mix it up. We're going to have the short and long, and we're just going to fill this in all the way across and create that feather look on our owl. I'm just going to keep doing it till it's filled in and it's looking wonderful. It's different. Okay, now at the bottom, let's do the U technique. We're going to create the U's and we're going to do that all the way across. Let's fill that in. I really think our owl is starting to look handsome. And when we're done with this, you're going to see how similar but yet very different our owls are, and how just some simple techniques can change things significantly. All right, we're going to go ahead and continue taking those U-shaped lines all the way across so that it looks like it's feathers. Keep doing that, keep filling it in. You can do them as big or as small as you like. We're just going to keep filling that in. Right there, yep. I love it, I love it. He is looking so handsome, so handsome. We're just going to fill a few more in here, and then we're going to let that go for the moment. Okay, so we want now to rinse our brush and dip into the black, because we are going to work on his eyes. As before, we're going to create some black ovals, and then we are going to make and create that line at the top. But let's do our ovals first. Just like that. And take the line over. This time it'll be from right to left, because he's looking the opposite direction, right to left, just like that. He looks so wonderful, so wonderful. And oh my gosh, I forgot the eyebrows on the last owl, so let me add those. And then we're going to come back and add them here. I really feel like it adds some character. Now, I don't believe technically owls have eyebrows, but they do have these prominent feather markings at the top that kind of give them a personality. So we're trying to capture that here. Okay, going back to the number 6 brush again, we're going to pre-mix the crushed coral and the warm beige this time. Instead of adding them separately on the paper, we're going to pre-mix it and add it here. By doing that, you can see the texture of his cheeks is a little bit different and a little bit more smooth than our other owl. So we're going to keep doing that, and then we're going to take that color up into his ears as well. I love the difference that the techniques can do. Textures and feelings. Okay, back to the number 2 brush, And we're going to finish painting his eyes again under the line and over to the oval. We're going to fill that in, make it as bold as we can. Same thing with the other eye. Really, really love that. He looks so wonderful, so incredibly handsome. We're filling that in so it looks nice and bold. Love that. A little bit more here, just a little bit more. And there you go, another handsome owl.